Good morning everyone, it's Kathy Champion and you're back here in my craft room, and today what I want to do is feature this beautiful stamp set called Prize Peony. And I know that in some parts of the country they're called peonies, but I'm from the south, so I do call them peony. But anyway, whatever you call them, it's still, as the cliche goes, a rose by any other name would still smell the same. This is a beautiful, beautiful stamp set, and I want to show you what we have here. I have taken out a couple of the stamps, and I have these two right here on my blocks, as you can see. These are two of the smaller one, and this little textured stamp. I'll bring that up and hopefully that's going to focus. But anyway, it is just a little textured stamp, and when you stamp it, it looks like this. That might be better for you to see. But we are going to use this stamp, and we're going to use the small one, and we're going to use this, and we're probably going to use one of these sentiments here, but I'm going to go ahead and pull out this big one, and you can see what a beautiful showing this stamp will have on a card because it is a substantial size. So we're going to pull that out. We're also going to use the coordinating dies, and this particular set of dies comes with the set here to the right are the set that will actually cut out the stamped images. The set right here is a whole different set, and what it allows you to do is a very 3D set that makes this beautiful peony. And as you can see, it's very textured. You have all of this dimension, and even the leaves are very dimensional. So, and I will be showing y'all how to do that. That I played with the other day, but I haven't done anything as far as bringing a video to y'all yet. So today what we're going to deal with is this and the stamp set. So I'm going to lay all of this to the side, and we are going to work with the other thing that we're going to work with. I have my Momenta ink here. We'll be stamping our peony with that. I also have a Stampin' Pad to Rococo Rose and Smokey Slate, and I think that's going to be beautiful. I'm also using a gray, and we'll be using this out of our neutral, and this is our designer series paper, and we are going to use this color right here. No, wait a minute, that's not it. So sorry. It's going to be this color right here. As you can see, they are slightly different but very similar. And this is actually the same color as this ink, the Smokey Slate. So, and that's another thing that Stampin' Up does so beautifully, is everything coordinates beautifully. So I'm going to lay that over here, put it to the side until we get ready to use it. The first thing I'm going to do is I have a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and this is just cut down at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm just going to use this to stamp this beautiful peony on. So let me grab my stamp block, and I am using the E-size block, and you do need kind of a big block to use for this. And I'm going to, since this is a bigger stamp, I am going to take my ink to the stamp rather than the other way around. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to load up my ink. And the reason I'm using the Momenta ink is because I want to do some alcohol coloring on this. So I'm going to use my Stampin' Blends in just a moment. And I'm going to use the Rococo Rose. So I'm just going to put this down, and I'm going to put a little light pressure on it, just so that we get a good image. Just like that. Isn't that pretty? I love that. Now I am going to use my Stampin' Scrub to clean up my stamp, and I want to show you this because if you do not have this Stampin' Scrub, look how big this is. This is a wonderful tool to have in your craft room. You have a side here for your wet, your stamp cleaner, or just water. And if you use a stamp cleaner, you can reactivate it by just putting a little water on it. And look at that. Then you can dry your stamp over here. And then you have a beautiful clean stamp. And y'all know how I am about cleaning my stamps. So if you're like me and you love, and this folds up like this, and then you can just stick it away in your drawer or wherever you store your supplies at. So what we're going to do now, we're going to grab the Rococo Rose in the Stampin' Blends, and there's your light and your dark. And I'm making sure that it is the Rococo Rose, and it is. And as you can see, there is your light and your dark. So we're going to start out with our light color, and I'm just going to color the entire, oops, let me use the other end. When I have a larger area, I like the brush tip, the wide tip. And we're just going to color this all in. And instead of you watching me do all this coloring, I am going to finish this offline, but you can see how pretty it is. In these dark shaded areas, I'm going to go back with the darker ink, and I am going to pull it out like that into this, and then we will come back with the lighter color and drag that dark ink up into the lighter color. And I'm going to just show you a little bit of this, and then see how I'm pulling that ink up with the lighter color, and it just gives you a beautiful blend of ink color. But I'm going to finish this off camera and we'll be right back. I'm also, while I'm away, I'm going to die cut this using this die right here. Let me show you what that's going to look like. We're going to just color it, and then I'm going to lay this over just like that. We're going to cut it out and we'll be right back. Alright, we are back, and I finished coloring using my Rococo Rose Stampin' Blends. So I thought this turned out really pretty. I'm also going to show you the colors that I use for this, and I use the Mossy, I believe the Mossy Meadow. Hang on one second, let me pull those. These two right here, and I believe these are the Mossy Meadow. Yes, I use the light and the dark on the Mossy Meadow for my leaves. Sorry about that. And I use the Daffodil Delight in the dark for my little light color right there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to go off camera again, and I am going to using this piece of paper in this Smokey Slate. I want to cut out this oval, this decorative oval. So let me do that, and we'll be right back, and then we're going to do some stamping. Okay, I am back, and what we have so far, we have cut this beautiful peony. I have die cut this oval out of the Designer Series paper using the Smokey Slate, which I think that's going to be beautiful. Look how this is going to showcase that peony. So I'm going to lay that to the side, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do some stamping, as I promised. And what I want to do is I want to stamp my my peonies with this Smokey Slate, and I'm using that smaller peony out of the stamp collection, and that's this one right here, this smaller stamp. And I am going to just do this with the gray. I'm going to load up my color, and I'm going to make, this is making our own pattern paper, and I'm going to just very randomly stamp my peonies on here. Just like this. I'm turning my paper as I go. And we are going to come back and fill in using that Rococo Rose just every here and there in between. And I'm going to show you how pretty this is going to be once we finish. So once I do that, now I'm going to come back with the Rococo Rose. I am going to pull out this cleaner because I do want to just clean that stamp off, because that is one of my pet peeves. You know, if you take really good care of your stamps, they will last you a lifetime. So I am such a stickler for cleaning up after I do something like this. So again, I'm going to use just one of my little microfiber cloths to clean my surface. And then we're going to come back in with this Rococo Rose. And I am going to, using this little textured stamp, we are going to stamp on and off with this, just precariously here and there, just putting in some of that color. And see how pretty that's going to look. I love making my own pattern paper. You know, if you have your inks and your stamps, the creations that you can make are endless with this. And I'm going to show you another example of that as well, where I used a different color ink and actually using the same color ink with these two stamps. And you're going to see how pretty that turned out as well. And I need a little bit right in here, and maybe just a tad right there. And I think that's good. What do y'all think? I am going to clean my stamp just over here off camera. And then I'm going to use my little cloth again right here just to clean up that excess ink. And then we're going to close up our ink, because y'all know what happens with me with a open ink pad. And I got a little bit on my thumb, which is par for the course. But anyway, this is what we have, and I have another one over here that I worked with earlier. And you can see I didn't put quite as much ink down on it, but I think I like this one better. And here's another one I did in the same color with the blues, and I love that one too. But we are going to use this one for this particular card. And the reason for that is I want to put this piece down over top. Look how pretty that gray is looking on there. Again, I cannot stress how wonderful it is to have coordinating cardstock with your inks and your markers. That is one of the advantages of using any of the Stampin' Up products. Everything coordinates together, and it always makes for a beautiful card. So what I'm going to do, and look at the back side of that. You've got these beautiful polka dots that look incredible. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take some of my little Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to just put some around the exterior of this oval, just like this. And maybe one right there, and one in the middle. And then I'm also going to go ahead and pop up some on the peony itself, because I want this to kind of pop off from our card. I think this is going to be super cute. And I'm going to even use some of these little mini Stampin' Dimensionals and to put on our stem. That's the good thing about having these Stampin' Dimensionals, because they do come in the 2 sizes, so you can find just the size you need. And if you can't, you can always cut them in half. If you need something even smaller, you can just use your little snips and cut them in half. But I think these are working for me right now. So I'm going to put those back, and I'm going to continue to add these full-size ones here on, well, maybe one more small one right at the end of this leaf. You know, like I said, you know, just work it to your advantage and use the size that you need to get the effect. And I love using these Stampin' Dimensionals because they allow you to pop up, and this adds that 3D effect to whatever you're doing. Okay, I think we've got enough of those on there. And if you're interested about these cases, this is the large case, and I use those for my Stampin' Dimensionals because I can get a boatload in here, and it just keeps everything together, and it keeps me organized, which is great. And I do use the smaller ones for some of my dies, like this right here. This is the smaller case, and you can also use the bigger ones for some of your dimensionals, like this. This is my oval dies, and I have those in there like that. So just another way to do your storing that will make it very, very unique. And I'm trying to, oh, you know what? I put these on the wrong side. Well, you know what? Since I did, we're going to go, this is not what I wanted to do. So let's see if we can peel these off and get them stuck on the right side, which is the wrong side. Oh, goodness. Let me get these taken off and I'll be right back. Okay, we are back, and as you can see, I was successfully able to get those all taken off from this side, and I did not damage my designer series paper either. So I did a little bit of a huff on it, like that, as I was peeling them off, and just the breath helped me get these off. And now we can wrangle off using my pick tool. I am going to get the backers off of these, just like that, and like that. And then we can just take these and put these in the trash can, and this is ready now to stick down on our card base. So I'm going to get this down just like this, right in the center. And I do want to do this in the center because I have an idea of how I want to place my sentiment. And then we are going to put this right here in the center, just like that. And I am going to pick off all of my little backers. And I love this Take Your Pick tool for doing this because it picks these up beautifully, wrangles them all onto your tool, just like that. And as you get them taken off like that, you can just, you know, take it over your trash can and empty it, and you are good to go with and if you're not sure whether you got them all off, all you have to do is touch your finger to it and it will let you know. These are all off. These are not. Yep. So we just have these two right here. So I am going to stick these just like that. And now this is ready to go onto our little oval that we cut out. So I am going to even this over top of it, just like this. I think this is going to be so pretty. Alright, now that I've got this stuck down, let me find a banner that I want to put our sentiment on and our card base, and we will be right back. So what I did, I went ahead and found this Stitch So Sweetly dies, and this is from our new catalog. And what I did is I just used this next to the smallest die, and I cut this out right here. And then what I want to do is I'm going to use our Momenta ink and this Love and Thanks to a Dear Friend, and I want to stamp that right here on this little element. And what I'm going to do to get this nice and straight, I am going to pull that off, and I'm going to stamp this right on the middle of this, hoping that I get it nice and straight. And you know what, if we don't, we'll do it again. So let me, using my Momenta ink, I'm going to line this up right here like so. Maybe I want a wider stamp block. This one usually works really well. And this is my H. Making sure, yeah, that's the H block. And I don't usually stamp real straight because I'm shaky. But I'm going to do the best I can to get this as nice and straight as I can possibly get it. And let's make sure we got a good amount of ink on there. And try not to get my head in the camera, but yet still get this nice and straight. Love and Thanks to a Dear Friend. Oh, that looks really pretty. It's very subtle, but very, very pretty. And then I am just going to put this with a dimensional right here. I'm just going to put a couple, maybe 3 of my stamping dimensions right here in the middle of this. And we're going to wrangle these off using our Take Your Pick tool, just like that. And bring this over and put this down right about here. Didn't like the way that went down, so I pulled it up, and I am going to re-adhere it right there. Just like that. Love and Thanks to a Dear Friend. Now what I want to do is find a piece of gray cardstock, and let me go and pull a beautiful piece of gray, and we're going to make our card base out of it, and I'll be right back. Hey everybody, I'm back, and I pulled this piece of gray cardstock, and I decided that I want to do a 5x7 card. This right here is a little bit bigger than an A2 size card, and I want to mat this card with several beautiful mats. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to cut this down to a 5x7 card. So a 5x7, you need a piece of paper that's 10x7 in order to get your 5x7. So I'm going to cut this side, the 8.5 side is 7. Oops, wrong blade. And then I'm going to, on the 11-inch side, I'm going to cut this at 10. And then when we fold this, we'll have a 5x7 card. So you only get one card out if you do a 5x7 out of 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. but sometimes we need a 5x7. So, and this is just one of those times that I wanted this to be a 5x7. So now we're going to take this to 5, and we're going to score it at 5 inches. And then we're going to have us a beautiful, and it looks like I have a little bit of a flaw on this piece of cardstock, so I'm going to turn it this way. And just get it creased down really good. And we're going to need this again because we're going to need to cut a mat for this. And I'm going to use just a piece of Whisper White. And I'm going to show you how to get a piece of Whisper White without using the whole thing. Now we know this is 5 by 7, so I want this to be 4 and, let's see, 4 and almost 5. So let's do 4 and 3/4. And get some of this stuff out of my way. I've got way too much stuff on my desk. So we're just going to move everything over just a little bit so we have a little bit more elbow room. Okay, so we got, that's 4. Now this needs to be 6 and 3/4. So there's 6 and 3/4 would put us to almost 7. Like in that 1/4 of an inch. Now if you have qualms about using a whole piece of cardstock like this on a card, let me show you what you can do. If you wanted to, you could take any rectangular frame and you could cut this out, and that way you would save some of this. Or if you needed an oval, you could use an oval die like I used earlier. Or you could use a rectangle. So let's just say, for example, we could get probably a rectangle about yay big out of this. Let's go down one size. Let's see. Let's try. No, I don't think I want that one. But I'm just saying, if you did not want to waste a piece of paper, the full piece of paper, you could very easily use a die, a rectangular die, and cut that out. I think I am going to go ahead and cut this one because I think I want to use this. So I'm going to move this out of my way. And sorry, but I am munching on some crackers because I did not have lunch. So I'm going to go cut this and I'll be right back. Alright, we're back, and I went ahead and cut that little rectangle out of the middle of this. So you can see how that can be a very useful tip so that you don't waste that entire middle. Now we've got another piece of cardstock that I'll stick back, and we can even, we could do some ink blending on this and make it a focal point on a card. We could actually stamp a sentiment on it. We could put something on the inside of a card. There's so many different things that we can do with that. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and layer this right about here, and we're going to use some snail to put this down with. So let me grab my snail. I have got like 15,000 too many things on my desk. So let's see. I think I'm going to grab my original, this is the old snail that Stampin' Up carried in last year's catalog, and it is no longer available because they have replaced it with a new one. I did get the plus. I haven't tried the regular one, It is a little bit different of a bonding material. And I'm with some of the other Stampin' Up demonstrators. I am not sure that I'm embracing it yet. Okay, I'm going to put this down, and what I'm going to try to do is get my little 1/4 inch all the way around, just like that. And now we can put this down, but I think I want something else. Do I want another gray, or do I want to do the green? I love that mossy green. So let's see. So we're going to pull this piece out, and we're going to cut a mat out of it. I love, love, love a layered card. So anytime that I can work with some layers, I'm always a happy girl. So let me pull over the paper trimmer one more time. And now this one needs to be, and we're going to do the same thing with this. We're going to cut that little rectangle out of the middle of it. So this one needs to be, this was 6 and, okay, so we're going to go 4 1/2. 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. So 4 1/2, and we're going to have to pull out our little arm by 6 1/2. Would be right there. You know, if you're in a hurry, you probably would not have time to sit and die cut all of these little pieces. But if you're not in a hurry, like I said, this is a great way to make use of, you know, using some of your ovals or squares or whatever, and just cut that center out. Or if you had some words that you wanted to cut out, you could cut those out of the middle. Whatever it takes for you to be able to save your paper. Now, I'm not going to save, well, yes I am. I'm going to go ahead and run this through one more time. Alright, so now we're going to center this one right about like that. And you can see how everything is going to cover, so you don't have to worry about whether this is going to show or that's going to show, or, you know, any of that. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm going to use snail. And then one more piece down here, and this one's ready to go on. And I think I'm going to go back like this, and see if I can get this centered up just like I need it. Oh, how pretty is that card going to be? And then this is going to go just like so. Look how pretty that is. I really think that I want to put something down here. And I'm thinking maybe one of these gray strips. And I'm just trying to think it out and figure out what do I want down here at the bottom. Alrighty, I am back, and I grabbed this punch. This is called the Ribbon Border Punch, but it has since been discontinued. It was in last year's catalog. I don't know why they discontinued this one. I loved it. I thought it was a really cute little punch. But I made this beautiful little ribbon to go across here, and I think it's going to look so cute. Just like that, just across the bottom. It adds a little bit of elegance to our card, and I think it's going to work perfectly. And I'm going to show y'all a trick that you can do whenever you're dealing with a little piece like this that you need to put down, but you don't want to get glue all over everything. This is a little trick, and I had seen some of the other Stampin' Up demonstrators use this. So I tried it the other day because I wanted to try it myself before I brought it to you. So what you do is you can take any of your liquid glue, but I'm going to actually use the Tombow since this is what they used. And I'm just going to put a little smidgen of it down on my silicone craft mat. And then I have a little sponge that I dedicated to just glue. So this little sponge right here I don't use for anything but glue, and this is part of the little sponges that I showed you that Stampin' Up carries. They're very economical. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and lay this on my craft mat, and then I am just going to dab, 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 dab that glue all over the back of that piece. So it's nice and sticky now. And I am going to take it and lay it just right where I want it to fall, which is going to be right about there. Oops, 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 oops. And then I'm just going to press it down. And look, how easy was that? That is a great tip for being able to put down any of your little die cuts, any pieces that are tiny and small and that are hard to deal with. And now this craft mat, you can take this to the sink and just rinse it under some warm water. It comes off perfectly clean. I keep this in a little container. I have a little container right here beside my desk. And I just keep it in there so when I get ready to use it again, I know that one is just for my glue. And that works beautifully. So another little trick of the trade. So we do still need to put this piece down, and I am going to use the liquid glue for it. And I think the reason I want to use the liquid glue is I just want to go around the back, the sides and the bottom of it. I'm not going to glue in the middle because we have that open place in the middle. So there we go. We're just going to get some glue on it. And then we want to sit this down so we have that nice even border all the way around, just like that. And now this part of our card is done. The only thing we have left to do is we do need to put something on the inside for our sentiment. So we're going to open our card. We know that the inside of this card, because this is a 5x7, so we need to be 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. So we're going to go ahead and cut a piece of the Whisper White. And let's grab our trimmer. And we need to open this arm up again because we are going to have to go out to the 6.5 inch point. So let's do 4 3/4 first. I always go with my smaller measurement first. And then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to go to 6 1/2. 6 1/2. No, 6 3/4. I am so sorry. I almost messed that up, didn't I? Like I said, measure twice and cut once. Alright, so now this should be beautiful for the inside of our card. And it shouldn't be too hard now to find us a sentiment. Love and thanks to a dear friend. Like I said, I'm always needing thank you cards for somebody. So I'm just going to mash that down so it's kind of laying better. And then we're going to open up our card, and we are going to bring this into the middle. And again, I think I'm just going to do my wet glue. This is a very versatile all-purpose glue. And you don't want to use too much because it don't take a lot. I'm so guilty of putting down a little bit too much. And then this is ready for us to stamp a sentiment on. And let's look at that stamp set again. And look at that, your sweet friendship refreshes the soul. That would be so perfect to put on the inside of this card, because we are telling a friend that we thank them. So let's go a little bit further and just let them know how much we really, truly appreciate their friendship. And I'm going to move some of these stamps off over here. And let's pick this one up, and I want to make sure I get it nice and straight on my block. So that will work. And I'm going to bring this up a little bit to the top. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some more of those peonies for the corner. I think that'd be so cute. And let's put my top back on my glue before I have a dried up glue. And I think I want to do this in the Rococo Rose, because I think this is just going to complement this card so well. And then I think we're going to do some pink peonies inside. I think that'd be so cute. Look at that. I love it. Now I need my Stampin' Scrub, and I got it all covered up over here with all kinds of other goodies. Okay, and then I want to do some of the peonies, so I am going to grab that small peony again, and that's right here. Let's see, we can load that up on that block. Yep, that will work. And what I want to do is I want to do one here. And one down here. And I think that's all we need to do in here. I think that's gorgeous. I think that is such an elegant looking card, and I love the way this card has turned out. It really exceeds my expectations, and I love it when I make a card and as it comes together it exceeds what my original vision for this card, and I could not be happier. I think this card is gorgeous. I love the sentiment. I love everything about it. So I hope y'all enjoyed the process of watching me bring this to life. And I hope that you enjoyed the Prize Peony bundle that I showed you today. You can order this as a bundle. It also comes in a suite. And if you get the suite, you not only get the stamp set and the die, which is, the dies are inside, I'm sorry. Not only do you get the stamp set and the dies, you also get the Prize Peony 12 by 12 paper pack, and I believe you get these little gems, the Elegant Facet gems. I believe that's what comes with it. But it is gorgeous. It is, it's just beautiful. I could not be happier with this particular stamp set and dies and everything else that came with it. It is gorgeous. I know I made my own paper when I had a pack of paper that would have went with this, but I wanted to play with that textured stamp, and I also wanted to have the play on with the colors, with the gray and the pink, the Rococo Rose. I thought that was just lovely. So anyway, if you're interested in any of the products that you saw me use in today's video, you will notice that as this video played on, you will see the item numbers pop up when I introduce whether it's the cardstock, the inks, the markers, the dies, whatever. I will put that in the little pop-up window. Usually I do a little speech bubble. Sometimes I'll do a little basic at the bottom, but look for those, and you can pause the video and write those numbers down. Or if you're interested in purchasing the items, you can just wait until the video's over, go down and click on that Read More, and it will give you a drop-down menu, and you can find everything there, every item that I use, the order number, and also my site, where it will make it very easy for you to go over and pick out the items that you want off of my online store. Also, if you shop at my store and spend $75 or more, you will receive a free Stampin' Up catalog. So just remind me in an email, shoot me an email, Kathy@randomactsofcrafting.com, and I will make sure that you get a catalog. So you spend $75, and this is retail value before shipping and handling, and I'll ship you out a free catalog. And that way you can go through the catalog at your leisure. You can circle, you can make a wish list, because none of us can go out and buy everything we want at one time, but if you start with one or two small things, and then you can add to your stash as time goes on. I certainly know that's how I built my stash of crafting supplies, and you can do the same. But anyway, I just want to say God bless you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in, for being a part of my channel, for being a part of my family, because I do think of you as family. And I just want to say that I feel so blessed to know Jesus, and I pray that you will too. I pray that you will find your salvation through the blood of Jesus. If you don't already know him, I urge you to delve into the Word, read the Bible, see what God's Word has to say about salvation, and then make the decision for yourself to follow Jesus. Until we meet again, until we craft again, God bless you and keep you. And as I always say in closing, let everything you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven, for he is so worthy. Until we craft again, bye-bye.